With nothing more than a dream and a strong work ethic, Todd Graves set out to make his mark on the restaurant industry, and make his mark he did. Following college graduation, Todd worked as a commercial salmon fisherman and a boilermaker in an oil refinery to earn the seed money to fund his dream. Despite the odds, Raising Cane's, named after Todd's yellow lab, opened in 1996. Now there are almost 100 restaurants. I'm Ellen Codiff, Editor-in-Chief of Food Channel Pro. Let's find out what qualifies Todd Graves as a leader with guts. Todd, what's your philosophy about giving back to the communities?
Well, I learned this through the restaurant business, was giving back. I grew up with a great family, but really active community involvement wasn't really part of what we did or what I was really taught. And because of my success with the restaurants and how much the community came out to support us and in my dreams and my crew's dreams of having a successful restaurant, we looked for ways to start giving back. And that started with school groups, because that was our Caniac customers. You know, it was students from LSU and the local high schools. So whether it was sponsoring a fraternity and sorority T-shirt or supporting the high school band, we started getting involved with a few of their projects. And as we grew, really with each restaurant we opened and with each success we had, we were so thrilled about that, we started saying, what are the better ways we can give back? And so we started getting more and more sophisticated and getting programs together, how we can involve the community on doing fundraisers for different projects they had. But I believe that it's part of basically what Raising Cane's DNA is today, because it was the communities that made us successful and make us achieve our dreams.
And you said you mentioned you're involved with schools. You're also involved with active lifestyles, canine assistance, and many other causes. How do you decide which causes to support?
You know, with being a restaurant and being out in the community and having so many customers and fans, we get quite a few requests. And in the early years we do in the business, I wanted to support everybody. And obviously you can't. You have a limited amount of money and resources. So we decided to get a little more strategic with it and what should we focus on. And being a restaurant, the obvious one to us was feeding the hungry and how can we get involved with local food banks. And we said, well, what are our raving fans? Well, they come from junior high school, and college students. So how do we support education and supporting that group? With Raising Cane's being a restaurant and having a higher caloric menu item with chicken fingers, we are fried chicken, but we believe if you have an active lifestyle that you can enjoy that food in moderation. And so with that is how do we support active community involvement through active lifestyles? So whether it's sporting teams, walking and jogging trails, so on and so forth, how you can be involved with that to support that active lifestyle. We also believe that business development and entrepreneurship is the backbone of our business in the United States. And with me being an entrepreneur, I know I can give back in those areas and give my perspective from entrepreneurship, but also be involved with business associations like the Chamber and local areas to be pro-business.
Your mascot, Raising Cane's II, is a certified pet therapy dog. How did that program start? I know your wife is very involved in your home community with that program.
Yeah, we're dog fanatics. I mean, obviously I named the restaurant after my dog, Raising Cane. And we always believed in, what do you do in pet welfare causes, something that's important because I am a dog lover. My wife is also a big fan of canines, and she said, well, here's another way I can involve Cane with her local stardom. I swear she's more popular than and well known than Lassie in the areas we have Raising Cane's. My wife looked into getting Cane a certified pet therapy dog, where she's certified to go in any hospital nationally in the country. And where my wife likes to concentrate is to go to children's hospitals. And for one, getting Cane to help in healing, to bring in a very sweet, gentle dog to spend time with the patients, but also for the doctors and nurses that have a very tough job at a children's hospital to kind of break that tension of the day for them also.
You're a graduate of the University of Georgia, and your first unit is in the backyard of LSU. So you're a huge SEC guy, right?
Absolutely.
So how do you support these schools, and who do you root for at the games?
Oh, you're gonna put me on the spot there. That's a good one. I grew up in Baton Rouge and grew up bleeding purple and gold. Going to all the sporting events, going to school events. I mean, I was a Tiger. And when coming graduating high school, I looked between Georgia and LSU and going to school. And the reason why I chose Georgia, both very good schools, was because all of my older sister went to LSU, my older friends went to LSU, and I'd been doing LSU activities, mainly partying through my high school years, being around those people at that school. So I knew for myself I needed to grow. I said I need to challenge myself. I need to go somewhere where I don't know anybody, and so that was University of Georgia. I didn't know a soul up there. It was another SEC school, and very similar to LSU. And I knew I'd want to come back home and be back home, but let me go get some different experiences up in Georgia. I remained very active with both universities. Obviously, at LSU, we started our first unit, and our second unit is on the other side of campus. And so we're involved with everything on that campus that we can possibly be involved, down to me teaching entrepreneur classes, to us being involved with all the sporting, the arts. If you look at anything to be involved at LSU, we're on it. But we also support the University of Georgia quite a bit. It's a funny story. I worked in a restaurant in college, very similar to Raising Cane's, that we now have a unit in that location I actually worked at to support myself in college. And we're corporate sponsors of some sporting programs up at University of Georgia, also involved with classes and speaking the same way.
Do you think the restaurant industry gets enough credit for giving back to the communities?
I think the restaurant business gets credit for giving back to communities. I think the restaurants that do it right, and that do fundraising events, I think they get supported by the local communities. I think that patrons are becoming more educated on what restaurants are giving back, and those restaurants are getting more sales because of that. What I don't think restaurants get credit for is how important that the restaurant industry is on people's first jobs. Over 90% of people's first jobs is in the restaurant business, and I think that the communities need to understand how much more of an important role that is, and maybe some more support and recognition on the fact that we are training people in their first job and supporting the restaurants that are doing that in the right way, and then that's putting some pressure on the restaurants that aren't doing that in the right way.
We've been talking with Todd Graves, CEO of Raising Cane's. Check out the next part of this series as we explore what it takes to be a leader with guts. For Food Channel Pro, I'm Ellen Codiff.